If you want to know who is to blame for all of the calamity and upset that's going on in the earth, more than likely it's Israel. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-minute toward day 3 of Ha'azinu, to give ear, and maybe we need to listen and pay attention here. Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 8 says, when the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the boundaries of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the portion of Yahweh is his people, Yahweh his allotted inheritance. He found him, that is, Yah found Yaakov in a wilderness, in a wasted, howling desert. He encompassed him, he made him understand, and he watched over him as the apple of his eye. As an eagle stirs up its nest, flurrying over its young, spreading out its wings, taking them up, bearing them alone, Yahweh alone led him. And so we find that Yah is the one who has brought Israel through whatever desert, wilderness, calamitous situation they have found themselves in. As you're watching this, according to most calendar observances, there are some that will be different. And if you are different, not saying you're wrong and someone else is right. We're just acknowledging that today, many people are observing Yom Teruah. May have started last evening when the sun went down. That's what we had done at House of David. And throughout the day, today until sundown, it is Yom Teruah, the day of the shout, or blasting of trumpets. And yes, there are many who are celebrating this as well as Rosh Hashanah, a celebration of a new year. You may or you may not be doing that. And so there are a lot of reasons and a lot of teachings on that. And we'll leave that to others for today. But in this setting here, Yah is saying Israel is the crux of the matter. He says here that when he divided up the nations and determined where the nations would be situated, the cultures, the people, the histories of these people would take place and will take place now in the future. All of these boundaries, he is the one who has stipulated where they will lie, how they will be formed, but he did it as a measure in relationship to Israel. Now, we know then that this tiny sliver of land that is currently known as the sovereign state of Israel in the Middle East is not all of Israel. Abraham was told in Bereshit, or Genesis 15, that from the river of Egypt, or Mitzrayim, the Nile, we assume is what was referenced, to the Euphrates in modern-day Iraq, all of that land, and to be determined to the east of that, Mediterranean's on the west, but on the east side, how much land does that encompass? Well, that's debatable. But it's a very large piece of territory. That's Israel. Now, currently it encompasses Jordan and Lebanon and Syria and part of Iraq and part of Egypt and maybe part of Saudi Arabia, etc. Those lands are occupied by other people. How will that filter out in the future? Well, that's up for Messiah to determine. And there's going to be some Middle East war and fighting that's going to determine a great deal of that. And if we think that we have seen warfare in the last year in regards to Israel fighting Hamas and Hezbollah, keep your battle helmet on. It's going to continue for a while. That being understood, what Yah is saying here is the balance of things, and his estimation is the nations of the earth versus Israel. And again, Israel is not only in land, that tiny sliver of land, neither is Israel the people, only those who currently occupy that land. But rather, Israel yet remains as a people, all the tribes scattered the world over. So among the nations, where Israel is currently residing, the United States, the United Kingdom, other nations in the earth, Australia, Asia, these peoples have something to say, at least in the spiritual realm, about how things are going to pan out in days to come. Because Yah has already declared that he is going to gather us from the four corners of the earth. He is going to bring us back, Jeremiah 31 says, along the rivers, and we will come weeping as we return. But we're going to be rejoined with Yah and those who are currently in the land, in the expanded borders, in the kingdom of Yeshua, and it's going to be a joyful time. Between now and then, there's a lot of shaking out, where, as Hebrews says, everything that can be shaken will be shaken. It's going to be a whole lot of shaking going on, Jerry Lee Lewis said. So he says here that Yah found Israel in upsetting times, in a howling desert. So when you consider that the earth has been reeling and rocking, according to what the psalmist would say would happen, here in the United States, there have been multiple wildfires burning out west. Obviously, the world is aware of Hurricane Helene and all of its continuing devastation. The flooding has not necessarily maxed out in some areas. The debris that is washed downstream has wiped out bridges and roads and homes, and towns, entire towns are now gone. That's unthinkable. I mean, if you think about a hurricane normally, you think about the coastal regions, especially in Florida. But here, the worst of it seems to be, as bad as Florida was hit, the worst seems to be with the enormous flooding up in the mountainous areas in southwest or southeast United States. We've had fires break out, storms break out. My sister and her husband yesterday were under the threat of constant tornadoes. The storm system is very, very destructive. Hurricane season's not over yet. It will continue. Financial economy issues the world over. The whole world is on the brink of an economic disaster. It would seem like the floorboards are creaking and groaning, and yet we keep piling on more and more debt, thinking that we can borrow our way out of our current economic crisis. Folks, we may be in for some turbulent and upsetting times. Let me encourage you. Pay off all the debt you can. Put some food and water aside. Have some cash on hand. Some gold or silver, especially silver, if you can get it. Be prepared. Be prepared to have to live in your homes for a while without any opportunity to bring any supplies in. This is just being frugal, being cautious, being reasonable, and if the food is not necessary in the days to come, you can eat it later. Money's always good to have on hand, but you need to be prepared. To say that we have this mindset, well, Yah will just take care of us. Yes, he will take care of us by giving us wisdom to look ahead and recognize the storm clouds on the horizon and understand it's not just a physical realm storm, it is coming. Yah found him in a wilderness, but he stirred up the nest. He allowed these issues to stir up Israel, to awaken them from their slumber, to open their eyes and help them to understand, I just can't fake my way or wing my way through this. I'm going to have to make some good decisions. I'm going to have to pray through my issues. That's what this continuing month of Elul is about. Now going into Tishri, we need to be aware. Yah's calling on us to seek his face while he may be found. I encourage you to do so. Use wisdom. Hear the voice of the Father and take some strategic steps. and strategically. I hope you will meet me again here tomorrow. Until then, shalom.